Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Mr. Heath and today I am going to be your instructor. Now, you might have joined me last time and I'm so excited to see you again. Today, I have a very cool lesson over directing. So, if you've ever thought, I think I want to be a director, how could I do that? I'm going to give you some tips and some tricks, okay? If you're new to one of my lessons, let me tell you a little bit about me. My name is Heath Jones, and I am an elementary school drama teacher here in Oklahoma City. I work at Wilson Elementary, and some of my students might even be watching right now, so hello everyone. I have been acting since I was 7 years old. I got my start here at Oklahoma Children's Theater. So if you're sitting at home wondering, I wonder if I'll ever be a teacher, if I'll ever be able to be an actor or director, I promise you, it is possible. So thank you for joining me today, and I hope you are ready to have some fun. Before we get started, I'm just going to let you know sort of the plan for today's activity. We are going to do a quick physical warm-up, which means we are going to get our breathing, our voices, and our bodies ready to work. It's very important to warm up. Then I am going to teach you a lesson in directing, and then we're going to do a really cool, fun activity. So once again, everyone, thank you so much for being here with me today, and let's have some fun. But first, our warm-up. So for our warm-up, what I would like you to do is get up out of your chair. If you're sitting in one, if you're laying on your couch, you want to stand up and make sure that your hands are at your sides and that your feet are shoulder-width apart. We call this actor neutral. And if you're standing in actor neutral, that means you are centered, focused, and ready to work. So what I'd like you to do first is we are going to focus on our deep belly breaths. As an actor, you can't really do anything until you get focused with your breathing. So I want you to put your hands at your sides, close your eyes, and just take a deep breath in for me. Go ahead and inhale, hold it, and exhale. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale. Exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Very good. Now, one thing you might have noticed when I was breathing, you might have noticed that my stomach was getting bigger when I breathed in and getting smaller when I breathed out. And that's a good thing. That's how you know you're taking deep belly breaths. So, if you see me breathe, and when I inhale, my hands go, and they get bigger, that means I'm taking a nice big belly breath. And when I exhale, if my hands get tighter on my body, that means my belly is moving up and down when I'm breathing, and you are breathing exactly how you should be. So everyone try that. Take your hands, and we're going to put our hands on our bellies just like this. And we are going to inhale. Feel your belly expand, feel your hands get wider, and exhale. You should feel your hands coming in closer together. One last time. Inhale. And exhale. Very good. Now that's really important because a lot of times if you're like me, it's easy to lose focus. It's easy to get distracted. I start looking at the room around me. I start wanting to think, what am I going to have for lunch? Or what am I going to do this evening? And if you're using your deep belly breaths, it's a really good way to focus your mind, clear your head, and focus on the task that you're doing at hand. Very good for young actors to know. Okay, so that was deep belly breaths. Now we are going to focus on our voice. And you can't do a vocal warm-up until you've worked on your breathing. So I think you all are ready to go. So actor neutral again. Very good. Now, I want you to repeat after me. You're gonna breathe in, and then we're gonna make a noise, and I want you to mimic that noise, okay? So breathe in. Ha. Good. Let's try that again. Breathe in. Ha. And what we're doing is we are just getting our diaphragm worked out, and it's going to help us project our voices nice and loud. One more time, breathe in. Ha. Good. Now we're going to be a little silly with it. We are going to run from the lowest point of our voice to the highest point of our voice and back again. And that's going to sound like this. Think you can do that? I think you can. So here we go. Everyone do it with me. Actor neutral. Inhale and good. Now we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start at the top, go to the bottom, and go back to the top. Breathe in. Good. And if you feel silly, that's okay. That means you're doing it right. Don't be embarrassed. One more time. Breathe in. Awesome. Now we're going to do a quick tongue twister. So listen to what I'm saying, and then I'm going to have you repeat after me. Unique New York. Unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Good. That should sound like this all together. Unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York. The challenge of this tongue twister now is to focus on all of your consonants, use your mouth completely, and say it as fast as you can. Are you ready? We're going to go on 1, 2, 3. Unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York, unique New York, unique New York. You know you need unique New York. Whew, very good. And if you didn't get it that time, it's okay. All you need to do is a little practice. Now we're going to move on to a quick physical warm-up. Really quickly, just shake it out. Actor neutral. And you're going to raise your arms nice and high. I want you to bend those knees. And now you're going to jump. Keep those hands up. Bend those knees and jump. Good. One last time, we're going to raise our hands, bend those knees, and jump. Keep your hands up and drop your hands at your wrists. Drop your arms. Drop your elbows. Let your head roll forward. And just slowly roll down your spine, just like this. Very good. Nod your head yes. Shake your head no. And come on up. Whew. Now sometimes when you do that and you come up, you might feel a little dizzy. There's a trick to that. I want you to take your palm and I want you to find a spot on your palm and just stare at it for a few seconds. And that will help you be a little less dizzy if you feel dizzy. Our last warm-up today before we move on to our lesson is my favorite warm-up. It is called, There Are No Bananas in the Sky. And the way it goes is like this. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There's a sun and a moon and a coconut cream pie, but there are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. We're going to do that 3 times. We're going to go super slow, slow motion, normal speed, and then uber speed, which is super loud, super fast. So after neutral, take a deep breath, and here we go. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There's a sun and a moon and a coconut cream pie, but there are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. Very good. Normal speed now. 1, 2, 3. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There's a sun and a moon and a coconut cream pie, but there are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. Good job. Uber speed, super loud and super fast. 1, 2, 3. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. There's a sun and a moon and a coconut cream pie, but there are no bananas in the sky, in the sky. Whew. Oh, I am out of breath. That was very good, and I hope you enjoyed that. All right, everyone, welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that warm-up. I know I feel ready to focus and ready to get to work. So what are we talking about today? Today, we are talking about directing, which is one of my favorite things to do. I'm going to talk to you about the purpose of a director, what a director does, and then how a director gets started. So maybe one day you can direct your own plays and your own scenes. So the director's purpose. What is a director? Well, the director of a production is sort of like the captain of a ship. That's the way I always think of it. And I always like to start by drawing a nice little ship, maybe even a pirate ship with a sail. And then the captain's here. He's got his captain hat on, and he's telling the crew where to go. He is the captain of the ship. Without the director, nobody would know what to do because it's the director's job to lead the entire team. The director has to lead the cast and the crew from their very first rehearsal to their opening night product. And that's when the director finally gets to take a little bit of a break. The director has to come up with the concept for the show, or I like to call it the artistic vision for the production. He has to come up with the stage direction, so all of the movement, and he has to cast the show. So he has to find all of the actors. The director has a lot on his or her plate. So when did directing start? Who was the first director? And remember, when I say director, I'm not talking about movie directors. I'm not talking about Steven Spielberg. Although what they do is very similar, it's still different to what we do as theater directors. The first theater director was named George II. George II. And his title was the Duke of Saxe-Meiningen. That's a weird name, isn't it? That's a mouthful. Can you say that? George II, the Duke of Saxe-Meiningen. Very good. And he was born in 1826 and he died in 1914. So he lived a very long time ago. In fact, you'll even see a picture of him on my slide right here. And he became the first modern director because he did 3 things. The first thing he did, he was very wealthy. So he had enough money to build his very own theater. How cool would that be? I wish I owned my very own theater, don't you? So he built his own theater, and he hired a company, that means a group of actors and artists to create plays with. And since he was the one paying everyone, he was in charge. He decided what plays they were going to do. He decided what parts the actors were going to play. And he decided the way the show would look and how the artists were going to make that happen. And because of that, he became the very first director. The second thing he did that made him the very first modern director was rehearsals. Now, way back during Shakespeare's day or during the ancient Greeks, they didn't really rehearse their plays like we do now. They would get their scripts, they would have maybe a day of rehearsal, they would quickly learn it, work really hard, and then they would go out and put on their show. Well, George II didn't really like that. He wanted to fine-tune every detail of the play. He wanted to work it over and over, and he wanted to rehearse it. So the Duke was very notorious for having many, many rehearsals that he would make his actors come to, and they would last really, really, really late into the night. So they would work for days on end, and they wouldn't just memorize their part and work the show from beginning to end over and over and over. George II would stop them and say, okay, wait just a minute. I don't like what you did just then. How can we change it? How can we make it different? How can we make it better? So he wanted to fine-tune their performances, which is very much what a director does today. It's the director's job to put their mind into that of the audience. So they have to imagine, what do I want the audience to see? And then they try to make that happen on stage. The third thing that George II did was he wanted his plays to feel historically accurate. That was his process. He would research the time period that the play took place in. So let's say the play took place in ancient Greece. He would research, what did the ancient Greeks wear? How did they live? How did they move? How did they talk? And then when he would rehearse the play with his actors, he would bring all of that knowledge to them, and he wanted them to do their best to act just like they did way back when. He wanted them to move historically accurate, look historically accurate, and perform historically accurate. Now, not every director works like that nowadays, but he was the first one to really try those things. And that's why we call him the first modern director. But nowadays there are many directors. There are tons of different men and women who are directing plays and making them happen. And today I'd like to tell you quickly about 3 of them, okay? The first one is Thomas Kail. You might know him as the director of Hamilton. Now, I don't know about you, but I love Hamilton. I've seen it a few times, and it was his job to make the scenes move seamlessly into each other. Very rarely does the show turn off all the lights and they change a set piece or they move the set around. They don't do any of that. And that's one of Thomas Kail's strengths. He likes the thing to move non-stop. So if you want to know the director of Thomas Kail, or of Hamilton, remember Thomas Kail, and you can research him a little bit more. The next director, who you might recognize her work, is Julie Taymor. Now, I am a huge fan of Julie Taymor. She directed The Lion King, and she directed the Spider-Man musical, if you've ever heard of that. And what sets Julie Taymor apart is that she loves puppetry. Raise your hand if you love puppets. I know I do. She loves puppetry, and she loves masks. And she finds a way to incorporate those into every show that she directs. So if you've ever seen the Lion King musical, or if you've ever seen pictures of the Lion King musical, or even if you haven't, I invite you to do a quick Google search and look at some pictures. You will notice that the actors all wear these big headdresses that represent their characters. And she started making them as masks, but then she said, I want to see the actor's face. So then she put it on top of their head. So as an audience member, you can look at the headdress that the evil Scar is wearing, and you know, oh, that's Scar. Or you see the puppet that Zazu, the bird character, has, and you know, oh, that's Zazu, because the puppet can fly around. That is her trademark, and that is what she is most known for. The last director I want to tell you about is Joe Mantello, who directed one of my very favorite shows on Broadway, and that is Wicked. How many of you have seen Wicked? I know it's come to Oklahoma quite a few times. Okay, looks like some of you have. Well, Joe Mantello is known for creating these over-the-top fantastical worlds. So if you've ever seen Wicked, or if you've ever seen pictures of Wicked, you will know that the costumes are over the top, they're beautiful, and they're very detailed. So that's what Joe Mantello likes to do. He likes to take us to these faraway fairy tale lands. I wanted to tell you about these three directors because they are all very different. Joe Mantello likes over-the-top lighting and costuming and fairy tales. Julie Taymor likes puppetry and masks. And Thomas Kail likes fluidity and realism. All of them are very skilled, very brilliant directors, but they all work very differently. So if you think you want to be a director, do not think that you have to copy anyone else's work or you have to fit a specific mold. The whole point of being a director is to find things that you love about the theater and bring them to the production. If you, as the director, are super excited about the show you're putting on, the actors, the crew, and the audience are going to feel that, and they are going to be excited. Now then, so how does a director work? What's the director's process? Well, the first thing the director does is reads the play over and over and over and over, and you'll see this process on my slide here. That's the first thing. You read the play and then you do research. So like I was saying about ancient Greek theater, if you wanted to be an ancient Greek play, you would do all of your research. What did they look like? What did they wear? What did those plays feel like? Then you come up with your concept. This is called the artistic vision. And what I mean by this is the concept is the theme of the play. So let's say you're doing Romeo and Juliet. You might have heard of that play. And you want Romeo and Juliet to be set in space. You can do that. That is possible. But now you know, okay, we are going to set Romeo and Juliet in space. That means the costumes are going to look futuristic. They're going to look like astronauts. The set needs to look like a space station. Everything that comes out of the play starts at that concept. And it's the director's job to come up with it. The third thing the director is going to do is cast the play. And what that means is you are going to find the right actors for the right roles. You're going to hold auditions and you are going to say, this person was really good for this role, that's what they're going to play. This person, there's just not a role for them, so maybe next time. You have to decide that. And lastly, you are going to have rehearsals, which means you gather all the actors and the crew together and you begin working on the show. You start telling them where to move, how to perform. You help mold the actors' performances into the show that you envisioned. So let's talk about that artistic vision one more time real quick. The artistic vision of a production is the concept. It is the central theme or idea that connects all the elements. So if you're doing Romeo and Juliet in space, but then one of your characters dressed up as a cowboy, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't fit your artistic vision. The artistic vision is the framework for the entire production, and it unifies everything. And that's why a director is so important. Because if your director doesn't keep you on track, if you're the director and you're not helping everything stay unified, your play's going to be a mess, right? And we don't want that. So now we are going to move on to an activity. Staging a play. How do you go about staging a play? How do directors know where to tell their actors to move? Well, they know all of their stage directions, all of the areas of the stage. The best way to think of the stage when you are learning your stage directions is to think of a stage as a graph with 9 different sections. And you are going to think of this area of the stage right here as upstage. This is the area of the stage furthest away from the audience. This area down here is known as downstage. The downstage area is the area closest to the audience. So if I was to move closer to you, just like this, I am moving downstage. If I was to move away from you, like I'm doing right now, that is moving upstage. And each of these areas has a name. So when you're an actor and you're standing at center stage, looking at the audience, this is called stage right. So you're looking at me and it might look like that I'm pointing to your left, right? Well, I'm pointing to my right, so this is stage right. And that means this area is stage left. Now then, as you're naming these other areas of the stage, this is known as upstage center and downstage center. I'm going to come over here. This is known as upright because it's upstage and stage right. Right center and downstage right. Over here is the opposite. You've got upstage left, left center, and downstage left. And as an actor, even if you don't want to be a director, it's very important to know these stage directions because the director is going to say, hey you, Romeo, I want you to move from upstage left to center stage on your next line. And then it's going to be your job to know, okay, I'm upstage left and I am moving center stage. So how does this help you become a director? Well, a director has to think in terms of stage pictures. So what you're going to do is you are going to practice some stage pictures. The easiest way to do this is to get a Lego board, just like this. And you can see that I have taped off the 9 areas of the stage. We've got upstage, downstage, and center stage right, and stage left. And what you want to do is you want to take your stage. Now, I made mine with a Lego board, but you can easily take a piece of paper and create your stage just like this. So see, we've got a Lego stage and a paper stage. And what I want you to do is find some Lego men or some action figures, or even if you don't have any of that, maybe even a pencil or a marker, and you're going to pretend that it is an actor. And you're just going to work on moving your actor all around the stage. And then you can start thinking of some cool stage pictures. So let's say I'm directing a show and I want my actor to be pulling all the focus at center stage. But there are other actors in the scene, so I want to see what that looks like. So maybe I'll get some other Legos and I'll start playing around with where do I want them to stand. Maybe they'll be back here. And if you notice, all the other actors are now upstage of the one actor who is center stage, which means the audience's focus is going to come to this actor. Maybe there's 2 actors at center stage having a conversation while 2 more look on. So see, you can just move your actors all around your stage. It's a really great way to practice coming up with stage pictures. You can even start working with levels. And what levels means is sometimes actors might be sitting on the ground, they might be standing, they might be on a set piece, which that can also make some really cool looking stage pictures. So what I like to do is just make a random assortment of Legos, and maybe I'll attach this piece to my set, like so. And then maybe one actor will stand up high. So now you can see how that stage picture looks. Maybe one of my actors is sitting down over here. Maybe it's the end of Romeo and Juliet and everyone is laying down asleep and someone runs in to see them. So the whole point of this is to have fun. Get imaginative. And what I want you to do, once you've gotten your stage, your Lego stage or your paper stage, and you've got your figures and you're playing around with your stage pictures, I want you to take photos of them. Because sometimes it's easy to forget what your stage pictures look like. So you're going to take photos of your stage pictures, and these are going to be what you reference when you are directing your play. So I like to do this as a director. I'll sit down with my Lego stage and I'll start moving all of the characters around and I'll take pictures so that then when I go to rehearsal, I can pull out my phone, look at my pictures and say, okay, the goal is to make the actors on stage look like this. Who would have thought that that's an easy, great way to begin thinking like a director? I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned something today. I hope you remember your 9 areas of the stage. Remember, you can now run home to your adults and say, hey, did you know the stage had 9 areas? Do you mind if I move you around and maybe direct a scene? Because when you're playing imagination and pretend, you're already thinking like a director, right? That's how I learned, that's how I started thinking like a director. And now I hope that you feel the freedom to do so as well. I hope you learned something today. I hope you had fun with this activity, and I hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye, everyone.